Hi, this is Ricky Spencer, and we're here today on behalf of Sociology of Media Voices Media Bites series, and we're interviewing today someone whom I have admired for quite a long time, and that is Zara Jones. And Zara Jones has spent most of her life chained to the expectations that didn't belong to her. In 2017, she finally set herself free by coming out as transgender. She discovered a new community, new passions, and new connections to life. After hiding away for so many years, Zara was determined to be proud of her identity and taken every opportunity to be visible in her community, in the media, and through her workplace presentation. So what if she's trans? With no all ages social support services available locally, Zara started a trans and gender diverse Bendigo and beyond group. Zara found support through community volunteers to deliver a TGD Clothing Swap project across Victoria and began production of Speakeasy, an LGBTIQ Variety Chat show to share more stories of the LGBTIQ community. Zara is passionate about empowering others and amplifying understanding, advocacy, and connection through the sharing of voices and experiences. And she is so welcomed on our platform because she speaks of exactly what this whole broadcast is about, and that is about voices and giving voices an opportunity to be heard. Welcome, the lovely Zara Jones.
Thank you so much, Ricky. Yeah, I'm happy to be here and share voices because, as you say, that it is a passion of mine, and one of the reasons that I'm so passionate about that is because, as you said, I came out in 2017, which I was 40 years old at that time, and so I spent 40 years not really understanding who I was and connecting with my community because I didn't have exposure to those voices. There wasn't good representation in my life that helped me to explore and learn who I was and find the language about who I was. So I want to make sure that other people don't have to spend so many years wondering why they're so different, that there are all these wonderful people out there and wonderful ways of living. And that's why I like to share voices of not just myself, but all our community in all different aspects of our community.
Oh, well, that's wonderful. Now, tell us, Sarah, what it's like to live in Bendigo and what made you decide to really start the work that you did. So maybe tell us the story. So how did you get to Bendigo and what it was like for someone who sort of finally realised that they are trans and they're living in a major regional setting?
Yes, so I grew up in the southeastern suburbs of Melbourne. And when I got married and had a couple of kids, we were looking for somewhere that we could raise our kids with the same kind of environment that we were raised in. So the suburb that I grew up in was on the outskirts of Melbourne, and there was a lot of bush setting around, but we were watching that grow and develop, and we didn't like that. So we started looking around, and we came to Bendigo one Easter weekend, and we brought the family, and it was just amazing. Easter in Bendigo is just a real treat. There's parades and there's the festival, and it was a bunch of fun. So we thought, I think this is the town for us. And so we bought some land up here and settled in Bendigo. So that's how I got to Bendigo. Now that I've lived in Bendigo, I wouldn't go back to Melbourne to live. I really love it up here. I love the space. I love the community. I love that people recognize you when you're out and about in town, and there's so many people that you sort of see familiar faces. So yeah, that's been really positive for me. When I came out, that kind of was a bit of a cloud over being in Bendigo. I thought, golly, coming out in, excuse me, coming out in a regional town, this is going to be hard because there is a lot of old-fashioned values and attitudes here in town. And so I was really concerned and worried about how I would be received. And I didn't see other gender diverse people. I didn't see much in the way of queer community, mostly because I was not out socializing with them. They were all there. I just didn't see them. But then when I did come out, it's been such a positive experience. My colleagues have received me really well. Unfortunately, I lost all the friends that I had made prior to coming out, but I've made so many more friends from the community, allies as well, just people who see me for who I am and love me for who I am. And I'm just so appreciative of them and being here in this beautiful town.
Oh, that sounds really affirming. And Zara, tell us about the TGD Clothes Swap project that you're part of.
So that came out as part of, so when I came out, there were no support groups for people my age. We've got Headspace here, which is wonderful for people up to 25. And I was searching around. And so because there was nothing for me, I started reaching out to community and thought, well, I'll just start my own. I started on Facebook first. And then as people sort of started contacting me, I, started talking about what we can do and how we can socialize and just support each other, but go out and just be in the community as just normal people like the rest of the community. But one of the things that stood out was that it was really hard and expensive to transition my wardrobe. So as I was building confidence, I wanted to express myself more publicly. And so my wardrobe was full of all my masculine clothes. And so wearing those was really challenging because it was not affirming for me. And so I would buy a few pieces of clothing from the op shops and I would wear those and that would be great. But there were so many different occasions to go to, whether it's the workplace, whether it's just casual social events, summer, winter, all the different styles and times that you would need different clothing. And so I thought, well, there's got to be a better way we can do this. And I had been to a festival, a music festival, and they had a clothing swap there. And so it inspired me, and people could just come in and drop off clothes and pick up something else that it was all about expression through fashion. And I thought, well, this is what we need for our community. We have people who have wardrobes full of gendered clothing that no longer suits them, and they're seeking clothing that affirms who they are. What better way to do that than just, we can swap it all around. And when we put it out to the community, we had so many donations from the broader community as well, just wanting to support us and learning about what some of those challenges are for our trans community. And now we have thousands of items of clothing, and we've run 3 clothing swaps so far, and each of those have been really successful with attendance, but also the interactions that we've had with people from our own, like the TGD community, engaging with those. Some people saying that this is the first time they've been felt safe enough to explore their gendered clothing, which has been amazing for them. But also engaging with the general public who come in and say, well, what is this? What are you doing here? And we explain why it's there and why it's important. And they receive it really well and say, oh, I would have never have thought about that. And how can we donate? How can we get involved? So yeah, it's just another way to support, but also educate.
And it seems that it really does bring the whole community together through the event of clothes. So clothes do have that power to also connect people of all diversities, and that's wonderful. And is this an ongoing movement that you've started?
Yeah, absolutely. We still have so many clothes, and we keep getting donations. So long as the donations keep coming in, we can keep providing this opportunity. We have a team of volunteers, and we can go around to different events. So if you have something in your town that's coming up, whether it's an LGBTI event or whether it's a community event, and you feel like a clothing swap would be of value, we're particularly focusing our attention towards remote and regional areas because in those situations, people find it a lot harder to be going into a clothing store and finding clothes that affirm them, because that would out them. And in a small town, people talk, and if they're not ready to share that with everybody, that can be very confronting. And so that's prohibitive for them. So we want to be able to bring a clothing swap, and so people can just wander in, they can look at whatever items that they like. We say that our clothing swap there's no gender in our clothes. You can put on whatever you want to put on, and you can express yourself however you want to express yourself. And that goes for cis people as well, people who are just coming in and wanting to explore self-expression through clothing. There's lots of different opportunities and items there to explore.
And if someone was interested in, say, undertaking something like that in their community, what would be the best way they could contact you to have a discussion about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm happy to discuss how we can come to them or how they can set up something like this for themselves in their community. And so they can contact me at tgdbendigo@gmail.com. And yeah, we'll have a chat.
Oh, that's so exciting. So for all our viewers out there, or who have friends that would be interested, please spread the message, because even if you live in the most remote area of, say, Northern Territory or somewhere in a country town isolated, there is a way to communicate and bring yourself with other people together. And one of the other projects that I'm interested to hear about is the production of Speakeasy, a variety chat show. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so it's actually pronounced speak easy. So I'm a bit of a fan of the 20s and the whole idea around speakeasy bars. And the
Mhm.
reason behind that is not because I'm a big drinker, but because the culture around those bars. So it was all about prohibition and things, and people being told that they can't do something. And yet the community would get together and support each other in these speakeasy bars. And in those speakeasy bars, they got to express themselves. That they got to, women in particular, got to wear things that they weren't allowed to wear outside of those spaces. So I really love that concept of being able to share voices and to bring people together in that space. And so it also flows into speaking easy. And that's what we do on our show. So we have people come on and talk about all kinds of topics that are relevant to the LGBTI community. And we just talk to them about the issues. We talk about their experiences. We provide a little bit of education. So yeah, there's a whole range of shows that you can check out. And so you can see those. They're streamed to our Trans and Gender Diverse Bendigo and Beyond Facebook page, as well as on our YouTube page.
Oh, that's wonderful. I can imagine a lot of people will be excited to know that they can now access this, especially our younger trans and gender diverse community who might feel a little bit alone or isolated in the country or regional town, that they can log into Facebook and see something that they can identify with and affirm and feel part of a community. Zara, it's been wonderful speaking with you. I guess I'll leave the last you to make a lasting comment about voices and what does voices mean for you.
Yeah, so your voice carries your experiences, helps to give people an insight that they may not have, but also it connects people. So there might be somebody else who feels exactly like you feel, but is feeling alone because no one has shared that story. So by doing that, we will be connected.
Zara Jones, thank you for being here today.
No worries. Thank you.